In this video, we'll be teaching you how to play Primal TCG. The goal of the game is to score cards from the top of your opponent's deck, called Battle Rewards. The first player to score 10 Battle Rewards wins the game. The topics we'll be covering are the game board, how to read a card, setting up, and playing a turn of the game. The game board. Let's take a look at the different spots of the game board. The middle of the game board is where most of the cards move around. The kingdom area is where we play character cards and permanent strategy cards. We move our characters up to the battlefield to attack and take battle rewards or block our opponent's attacks. Essence is one of the main resources in Primal. Ability and strategy cards move to the Essence area after being played, and cards in the Essence area are spent to pay for ability cards or other effects. The right side of the game board stores our cards when we aren't using them. Our deck goes here, and cards go to the discard pile when they are no longer used. But sometimes they go to the expel area, which is like the discard pile, but harder to access. Our turn marker is tracked here. Primal TCG keeps track of how many turns go by, and each turn you can play stronger cards as your turn marker goes up. More on that later. On the left side of the board, we have field cards and battle rewards. Each player's sole field card goes here. Field cards are persistent cards that synergize with specific strategies and playstyles. They're always in play and can't be removed, so far. So it's a good idea to plan around getting the most out of them. Finally, the battle reward area is where cards go once they are scored by a player. When you score a battle reward, you take cards from your opponent's deck. Since the battle rewards come from the top of their deck, to keep things organized, your scored battle rewards are kept on your opponent's side of the field. Cards. Let's take a look at the basics of each card type. There are 4 different kinds of cards in Primal TCG. Character cards, strategy cards, ability cards, and field cards. Let's focus on character cards. Character cards are used to attack and defend and are the most important part of Primal. Here's a breakdown of the important parts of a character card. Every character has a name, element symbol, turn cost, hand cost, effect, characteristic, and attribute, and stat values. The turn cost indicates on which turn you can play the card. Your turn marker needs to be equal to or greater than the character's turn cost to summon it. The hand cost indicates how many cards of a matching element symbol need to be moved from your hand to the essence area to summon the character. Things like names, symbols, characteristics, and attributes might be referenced by effects of other cards, but don't do anything by themselves. The effect of a character is written here. Each character has its own effect, and there are a variety of different effects with different applications. We'll discuss character effects more during the playing the game section. The stat values on the lower right corner of the card represents the character's combat power. Every character has a leader value and a support value. Characters can become injured, in which case they rotate horizontally and use the stat value on the side of the card instead. Characters are played into the kingdom area and move to and from the battlefield. Strategy cards. Strategy cards are used to build resources. They can draw cards, prevent things from happening, or change how the game is played. Some strategy cards are single use and go away once you've applied their effects, but others stick around and remain in play for later use. Strategy cards have a name, a turn cost, a hand cost, a symbol, and an effect. Just like character cards, the turn and hand cost indicate on which turn you can play the card and how many cards of a matching symbol need to be moved to the essence area to play that card. The effects of strategy cards describe what they do. After applying the effect of the strategy card, it moves to your essence area, or kingdom, depending on the effect. Ability cards. Ability cards are played during a specific part of the game called the exchange of ability phase. It's a sub-phase within the battle phase. Ability cards have a name, symbol, cost, and effect. Instead of turn or hand cost that indicate when to play a card, ability cards have their cost written in essence symbols. After an ability card uses its effect, it moves to the essence area. We'll talk about ability cards more when we get into the exchange of ability phase. Starting the game. Separate your field card from your deck and place it in your field area. Then shuffle your deck and place it into your deck area. Players can then decide who goes first using an agreed upon method. After you've decided who goes first, draw an opening hand of 6 cards. If you don't like any of the cards in your opening hand, you may move any number of them to the bottom of your deck. Then draw the same number of new cards from the top and shuffle your deck afterwards. This is known as the mulligan rule, and we only do this once per game. Each player should set their turn marker to 0. Each turn of Primal has multiple phases, with sub-phases inside those phases, all of which will be covered in this video. Let's get started! Starting phase. At the start of your turn, draw 1 card from your deck. The player that goes first skips their first draw. Main phase. Primal keeps track of how many turns go by with a turn marker. Your turn marker indicates what cards you can play, and as your turn marker goes up, you can play more powerful cards. The turn cost of a card tells you that your turn marker must be at least that value to play that card. You may do any of the following in any order. Summoning a character. Once per turn, if a character card is in your hand and has a turn cost equal to or less than your turn marker, and it does not have a hand cost, you may put it in play. Let's say I am on turn 0 and I have Small Fry, a turn 0 character in my hand. I can put him in play and move him to my kingdom. I can no longer summon any other characters this turn. Charging Essence. Essence is a consumable resource used by other cards. It's single use and works like ammo, and gets spent to pay for things. Cards like strategies or abilities move to the essence area after being used and are a great way to build up essence. You can also move any number of cards from your hand to the essence area if you need to. We'll talk about using essence in more detail when we go into the battle phase. Use an activate main effect. Small Fry also has an activated effect that he can use. The green and yellow effect symbols tell us how often we can use these effects during our turn. A green effect type tells us we can use this effect once per turn per card copy. A yellow effect type tells us we can only activate that effect once per turn, meaning we cannot use Small Fry's effect twice per turn even if we had 2 copies in our hand. Playing a strategy card. Strategy cards have a turn cost and hand cost requirement, similar to character cards. If a strategy card is in your hand and has a turn cost equal to or less than your current turn marker value, you may put it in play. Typically, strategy cards have a hand cost requirement. The hand cost tells you how many cards you must move from your hand to your essence area with at least 1 matching element symbol from the card you're trying to put in play. Let's say we have just a few in our hand and we're in turn 1. We first state we want to play the card. Then we move the hand cost to the essence area. Then we place the card into the game board. Then perform the effect described by the strategy card. In this case, just a few lets us dig through the top 5 cards of our deck for a character card. After the effect of the strategy card is resolved, it gets moved to our essence area. Some strategy cards include permanent, which means the card goes in play in your kingdom for either the rest of the game or an indicated number of turns. Cards like this enter play with a number of counters on it equal to the number indicated. At the start of each of your turns, remove 1 counter. When you remove the last counter, move the strategy card to your essence area. Charge Essence. I check my hand once again and see if I have an ability card one of my characters can use in the battle phase. I see I have one and I need one more water essence to play it, so I'll charge an additional essence from my hand. Now we're done with the main phase, so we move on to the organization phase. Organization phase. In this phase, you can combine your character cards into teams of up to 3. You can have as many teams as you like, but 3 characters is the maximum per team. Choosing how to organize your teams. Character cards have 2 states. Healthy, the card is vertically positioned, and injured, the card is horizontally positioned. Characters can have different leader and support values based on their state. Teams have 1 leader, and the rest of them are supporting characters. Leader and support values get added together, and the total is called team power. When organizing characters into a team, the goal is usually to make it the highest team power you can. Typically, when you organize teams, you want to have characters with the highest leader value to be the team leader. Good supporting characters have high support value. In a team, you might want to have 1 character with a high leader value and 2 characters with high supporting values. Let's say we also have Hari in play. We can organize Small Fry and Hari into a team that can battle with a team power of 4. Battle phase. The battle phase is where players attack with their characters and try to score battle rewards. This is the main way to win a game of Primal. In Primal, we don't tap cards to signify what team is attacking. You can only send up to 3 teams to the battlefield to attack or to block attacks. We simply move the team towards the battlefield area to designate what team is being sent out to attack or to block. Since it's my turn, I will attack my opponent with my team of pirates. I choose for Small Fry to be the team leader, since he has the higher leader value. It is my opponent's decision whether or not they want to block. It seems they are not blocking my attack. Since my attack was not blocked, I win battle rewards. If an attack isn't blocked, and the team power equals 4 or less, the attacker wins 1 battle reward. If the team power is 5 or greater, they win 2. Battle rewards are cards that come from the top of each player's deck and are moved to the battle reward area face down. Once you get 10 battle rewards from your opponent, you win the game. Your opponent won't always let you get battle rewards though. They will often choose to block your team of characters with their own team of characters. Let's look at an example when characters block other characters. Now let's say they have Krakoon and Foro organized into a team and choose to block my attacking team. Now my opponent is blocking me with a team power of 5, while my pirate team is capped at a team power of 4. When an attacking team is blocked, damage is dealt to the characters instead of players, winning battle rewards. The opponent's team of 5 is larger than my team of 4, so if I don't do anything, my Small Fry will take a damage. Let's take a moment to talk about ability cards. Ability cards. After blockers are declared, play moves to the exchange of abilities part of the battle phase. Ability cards are powerful single-use cards that can tip the scales. Ability cards tend to not have a turn cost or hand cost. Instead, they use up your essence that you build up with your strategy cards or by charging essence. Primal uses a consumable resource system. Once you spend your resources, they don't return, and you need to build them back up. To pay for ability cards, you must match the essence cost stated in the ability card and move it from the essence area to the discard pile. I want to use this Brute Strength ability card, and the cost depicts 1 water and 2 neutral essence. So I must move 1 card with a water symbol and 2 cards with any symbol from my essence area to the discard pile. Ability cards are used by your battling characters. Some ability cards may require characters to have certain characteristics in order for them to be put in play. Luckily, my Brute Strength has no character requirements and can be used by any character on the battlefield. Exchange of abilities, or EOA for short. This is the moment we've been waiting for. This is one of the most exciting moments of Primal TCG. Our characters are in the battlefield deciding which kingdom will be victorious. Since my team of pirates is being blocked by the defending team of Micromons, I have priority on activating any EOA or exchange of ability effects or ability cards. If I choose to pass priority now, my opponent has the opportunity to play a card or use an effect. But if they choose to pass as well, it's too late for me to use my brute strength, and I'll lose the battle. So let's use that brute strength. I say to my opponent that I want Small Fry to use the brute strength ability and place it onto the game board. I pay the cost of brute strength, and now the ability is on the chain. In this instance, my opponent must either respond back with their own ability to be placed on the chain, or to pass priority to let my ability resolve. Chains. Let's take a moment to talk about how chains work in Primal TCG. Whenever a card is played or an effect is activated, the effect is not immediately applied. Instead, the card or effect is placed onto a chain of effects waiting to resolve. A chain does not refer to a specific location of the game board, but rather it refers to a system of organization that is meant to help players sort out the order in which the cards apply their effects. There can only be one chain at a time. When both players want to use one or more effects or cards at the same moment of the game, they get added to a chain, starting from chain link 1 with the first card or effect, then 2, then 3, and so on. Once both players have added everything to the chain that they want to, the chain resolves, meaning the effects described by the text of the cards are applied to the game. Chains resolve backwards, meaning the highest chain link or the last card played is the first card to apply its effects. When a player places a card or effect onto the chain, priority is passed to the opposing player, who then has the opportunity to place a card or effect of their own. If they do, priority goes back to the first player, and this process repeats with alternating play. If both players choose to pass priority one after the other, no other cards or effects may be played, and the chain begins to resolve. Let's get back to the exchange of abilities. My opponent decides not to do anything and lets my ability resolve. So, Small Fry now gets a +5 to his leader value until the end of the turn. Now that brute strength has finished resolving and is done being used, it gets moved to the essence area. After that, neither player wants to play anything, we both passed, so we move on to the next step of the battle phase. Showdown. This is the damage calculation step of the battle phase. Since my team power is now 9 versus my opponent's team power of 5, that means that the difference is 4, and my team wins a victory. Since my team wins a victory, my opponent's leader character takes 1 damage. When a healthy character takes 1 damage, it goes from healthy to injured, and it turns sideways. Now I will use the new stat value, which is on the side of the card. If an injured character takes a damage, it gets discarded and sent to the discard pile. If the difference would have been 5 or more, it would have been an outstanding victory. With an outstanding victory, the losing team's leader takes 2 damage instead, and the supporting characters take 1 damage. Whenever a character takes 2 or more damage, it is immediately discarded, whether healthy or injured. Once the showdown is over, our battling teams that remain return to our kingdoms. End phase. In the end phase, we check if anybody has won. If anyone has won 10 battle awards at this point, they win the game. If both players have 10 battle awards, the turn player wins first. If anyone no longer has any cards in their deck, they lose the game, and the other wins. If both players have no cards in their deck, then the turn player loses. If no one has won yet, we continue to play. If you have more than 7 cards in your hand, you have to discard cards until you get to 7 cards in your hand. Then, move your turn marker up by 1. The next player then starts their turn and has a chance to attack. To learn more about the specific rules and turns in Primal TCG, please head to primaltcg.com or click the link in the description. If you have any questions, feel free to head to our Discord and ask. We have an awesome community that's always willing to help. Thank you for watching and learning how to play Primal TCG.